My name's Jake Elmhorst. I'm the Academy Event Specialist here at ConstructConnect. So within that role, I head up the planning for several of the different events that we do at ConstructConnect, including our Bid Day, which is our semi-annual virtual conference, Bid Like a Boss, our weekly series, classroom training, and several other different virtual events that we do at ConstructConnect to help get more training and opportunities for the contractors to learn more about our products and just improve what they're doing at their business. When I'm not planning some of those events, I am still a product training specialist and train on on-screen takeoff and quick bid. So I'm pretty much daily in those trainings with our customers and still working to see what their needs are, their questions are, and so that way when I'm planning those events, I have a good insight into what questions and what issues they might potentially have. I've been with ConstructConnect for about 3.5 years now. I grew up working construction for my older brothers. They had their own construction company, so worked for them through high school and college. In the summers, doing a little bit of everything from concrete on up to roofing. Then I taught elementary for 13 years, mostly fourth and fifth grade, and then part of that time I was the technology specialist as well. So I worked with the teachers, integrating technology into their classroom and just improving their technology use. So having that construction teaching background, I think it works out pretty well coming to ConstructConnect. Like I said, working training with our contractors and getting them utilizing our software to the best of their ability. So enough about me now. Let's talk more about what can you do during the cold months or just slow times where you're not typically out working on jobs. So coming from an education background, I always think see what can you learn, what else can you improve on. Our team has our little saying, we always say, stay growing, keep growing, always keep learning more things, and so several different things that you could do during those slow times. So obviously, different certifications that you can get, learning new skills that you may want to improve on, and then learning more about the economy, different resources that you can help you make those business decisions moving forward. So let's talk about some of those certifications. What certifications can you get? We partner with the ASPE, and they have a lot of classes and courses, estimating specifically. So just what you can do to whether it's reading blueprints or the math of estimating specific trades. So a lot of great courses that they have. So check out what they have available if it's something that would be beneficial to you. Some other opportunities: OSHA, LEED, PMP, other great certifications that you can get. Now, whether it is you specifically or your team members, getting them OSHA certified for just making sure that you're being safe on the job site, and then also looking at being more environmentally friendly. So if that is something that the jobs that you're working on is going to be beneficial to you, different certifications that you can get through LEED to make sure that you are being conscious about the way that your business is being run. And then just project management, like I said, whether it's you or others at your company, and what you can do to improve your business, keep it moving forward, and being better at managing your time, managing your employees, making sure that things are continuing to move forward, so you're not kind of getting stuck in a rut of doing the same thing over and over, and it's not really helping you or those at your company. So a lot of great certifications courses that you can get out there and work on when you don't want to be outside. So some other things that you could be doing, just attending training for what you currently have. Now, obviously, what I do is I train our customers on the software that we use. So I'm going to throw that out there. Get out there and get training on the products that you use. Just a couple weeks ago, I was at a classroom training for the whole week with our customers, and some of the simplest features in our software, they've been using the software for 8-10 years and they didn't know about. So it can be easy, simple things that really improve the utilization of the software that you're using, whether it's ConstructConnect software or something else. Get training on that software. Make sure that you're understanding the best way to utilize that to be the most efficient with your time, and that way you're getting good estimates, and whether it's estimating or any other portion of your business, but just making sure that you're being the most efficient that you can with that software. Obviously, want to throw out the ConstructConnect suite of tools that we have. If you have any of our software, from searching, finding jobs on project intelligence, bid management, putting those projects out there for others to use or to find, and then taking those jobs from project intelligence, sending them to takeoff. For manufacturers, trying to get your product spec'd, get those out there for the architects, utilizing Insight. So a lot of different things that you can do with getting training on our products, and then, or like I said, any other products that you may have, and just making sure that you are being the most efficient with that process in pre-construction and throughout that whole construction process. And I mentioned, PMP certification earlier. Again, just those project management skills, making sure that you're being efficient. And then obviously, we're focusing on improving our utilization of AI. We have our takeoff boost within on-screen takeoff. A lot of different companies are working on AI, seeing how it can improve your efficiency, improve your process. And it doesn't have to be just in your takeoff, just in your daily life. I utilize it for a proposal that I was trying to put together. So, said, hey, Chat GPT, give me some ideas. What should this look like? What can I do with that? So, get some time to learn how AI can improve what you're doing daily. And we kind of always say everyone's worried about AI taking your job and losing things like that, but it's not going to take your job, but someone who uses AI could. And that's what we really emphasize, within our team. Utilize AI to make you better and to make you more efficient. So if you're, not improving, not getting better, someone else that is, could be coming in. So that's where you want to make sure that you're using all the tools and resources that are out there to just keep improving and keep getting better every day. And then just a couple other resources that we put out there at ConstructConnect, our economic resources. Michael is amazing. He has so many great people on his team helping him out to get all the different resources put out there to just help you look at what is coming, where you should be focusing your business, and kind of how you can kind of keep moving forward based on what's happening in the economy right now. So definitely check out all of our resources from our economic team and see what you can utilize and what can help you keep your business moving forward. How contractors can focus on their business rather than just their personal growth as they're moving into the new year. So a couple things that you could do, inside your home if you work from home, or inside your office, and then some things you could do outside, getting out and meeting other contractors. So first off, just searching for new projects. How do you kind of expand your network and find other projects? There's job boards out there all over. Here at ConstructConnect, we have Project Intelligence, so you can utilize that to spend some time, searching and finding the projects in your area, or you can expand out. If you're looking to expand your business and move into different areas, you can have several different ways to set up those searches and filters and finding the right jobs for you. So along with finding more jobs, you can make connections with other contractors utilizing Project Intelligence, and I'm sure other job boards have those features as well. But utilizing that to see who is putting those bids out, making those contacts with them, building those relationships, right from your office. So other than finding new projects and going out and expanding the projects that you're working on in the areas that you're working, you can also go back and analyze your previous bids, your previous projects, see what that profit margin was on some of those, see what the production rate of those jobs were, see if everything lined up, and as you're going back to analyze those bids, updating your estimating process and making sure that it is the best pricing for your labor, the best pricing for your materials, making sure that you have the right overhead profit set on all of those different bids, and just analyzing all of the previous work that you've done, so that way you can have that best process moving forward and getting into the new year. As you are analyzing those, you can update that pricing. Contacting the different suppliers that you have and making sure that you have updated pricing moving into the new year. So that way, when you go to submit those bids, you have the most recent pricing, and you're not kind of missing out on some opportunity there. Also, looking at the different wages of your contractors who you have working for you, making sure that those are updated, and that would making sure that you're keeping those wages high enough to keep the crew members that you have. So that way you're not having to continually hire new guys every year. Keep those crew members coming back and saving you the hassle of training new guys and going through that process. Some other things that you can do outside of your office. So if you like to get out and talk to people, there are construction conferences and trade shows going on pretty much every week throughout the winter. Some big ones coming up are World of Concrete in Vegas. Go do a little gambling and learn a little bit. You gotta mix the fun and the work together there. But yeah, you got World of Concrete coming up. AGC has a couple different conferences. So get out, and there, like we talked about, learning new things. You can do that at those conferences. You can learn about different materials that you may want to use, or different processes that you could be using. But the biggest thing is meeting other contractors, seeing how their process works, seeing what they're doing, and then making those connections to if you need more subcontractors, could be meeting them at those, or if you're a subcontractor, need to find a GC that you want to work with. All that can be done making those connections at the conference. Get around, talk to as many of the different manufacturers that are there, any of the different software companies that are there, just finding different things to continually improve your business and keep moving forward. Just getting out, meeting other people, and seeing how you can keep your business moving forward. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, just a few things to wrap up here. Some people like to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, you just may not know something that's out there, something that you could be doing better, something that you could be improving on. So if you're continually looking for ways to improve yourself, to improve your business, if you're kind of just sticking in the same rut, other people are going to keep improving and beyond what you're working on and kind of surpass you. So, I'd led some of our education conferences that we did, and I would always tell people, don't try to implement every single thing that you learn at a conference. So, if you go to a trade show and you learn 100 new ways to bid, or, to use different materials or whatever it might be, don't go back to the office and say, we're going to do this, and this. It's going to kind of come back to haunt you, because you're going to try to do it all, and then it's going to come crashing down. Pick one thing, work on it, improve on that, and then say, okay, now that I got this down, go to the next thing. Work on that, improve it, and then kind of keep moving. Like I said, one thing at a time. Keep working on that, improving, and you'll see that progression. And by the end of the year, you'll be 100 times better than what you were if you had either not done anything or tried to do it all at once and then not do anything. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you at our next event.